UFC Fight Night Moreno versus Kavanagh is over. Here's my experience.
I see my haters proud of me now. When I'm around, it's all smiles. I took over my whole town.
All right, to kick this thing off, I'll give this fight card a 8.5 out of 10. This card was a really good fight card from top to bottom. To start off, we had Damian Panaz taking on Wes Schultz. Damian Panaz making his UFC debut, and it did not disappoint. Every time this man touched Wes Schultz like he didn't know what was going on. He fell to the ground, and he did not want any parts of this man, Damian Panaz, on the feet, as every time Damian Panaz was able to touch him, he just completely crumbled. Wes Schultz wasn't able to get him down. Damian Panaz's takedown defense looked really, really good in this fight, and I think that is something that's going to be pivotal in his UFC career, because I don't think too many guys are going to want to stand with Baby Yaga, as Damian Panaz starts off his UFC career 1-0 in a first-round knockout, and I cannot wait to see what he does the rest of 2026, because I will be tuned in, and it should be very exciting. Following that fight, we have Francis Marshall taking on Eric Silva. Francis Marshall is coming in this fight after a loss that shouldn't have been a loss versus Marion Santos, but Francis Marshall looked damn good in this fight, getting the first round submission win over Eric Silva in a fight that he pretty much dominated the entire time. Eric Silva did come out there and start off the fight with a crazy spinning kick that landed, but besides that, Francis Marshall completely ran through him. What Francis Marshall gets next, I have no idea, but he is looking like a very good prospect at the featherweight division. In the fight of the night, we have another UFC debut, and it is Regina Turin taking on Ernesta Kisakata. I know I probably said her name wrong, but those two ladies was absolutely scrapping. Absolutely scrapping. Regina Turin coming in this fight when she's supposed to have a Muay Thai fight the same day, making her UFC debut on short notice, went in there and gave us an absolute war. An absolute war. And you know, if you got Karen Scotta in the octagon with you, she is not afraid to give you that war. An absolutely beautiful fight from both of them ladies. The last 10 seconds of that fight was absolutely madness. I think that's the first time we've ever seen ladies do the Max Holloway point down, and they didn't do the point down. They just heard the 10-second clapper and start throwing hands. I absolutely love that fight, and I cannot wait to see what Regina Turin does in her UFC career, because she's only 21 years old, and she is very, very violent, and she's not looking to go to the ground. She's looking to throw hands and elbows and knees, and she is a very, very promising fighter, and I cannot wait to see what she does when she has a full camp in the UFC. Following that fight, we probably had the craziest one-round fight of the entire night. We had Javier Reyes taking on Douglas Da Silva. In this fight, Javier Reyes was dropped early in this fight, early in round one, after not touching gloves to begin the fight, and then just looking like he was showboating a little bit too much. Douglas Da Silva was able to catch him clean and sit him down, but Javier Reyes was able to survive, and he was able to beat the buzzer in the first round as he punched out Douglas Da Silva as the horn was sounded. I don't have a problem with the finish. I mean, it looked like Douglas Da Silva was waving off, no more, don't hit me no more, don't hit me no more, I'm done. That's what it looked like to me, so I can't really get mad at the ref for stopping that fight. It looked very, very bad optically, and as the broadcast said, referee doesn't really care how much time is left in the fight. If you're in danger and the fight needs to be stopped, they will stop the fight, and that's exactly what the ref did. It was a good stoppage in my opinion, but what do you guys think about it? Following that fight, we had the return of Christian Quiones taking on Chris Moutinho. And this fight really wasn't the most exciting fight. Quiones did come out in the first and second round looking like a very good fighter. It looked like the 2 years away from the sport has helped him out tremendously. But in the third round, it looked like both of those guys were just gassed. They were just moving through the motion. It like Quiones had some moments that he could have probably pushed the gas and probably got to stop, but he didn't. They were both absolutely out of it. But it was a good fight nonetheless. Christian Quiones, welcome back to the UFC, 2 years away. Following a 2-fight losing streak, he's able to come back at 29 years old. And does he have a run in him? I don't really think he does, but I've been shocked before. What did you guys think about his performance? Let me know. In the women's bantamweight division, we had Aline Perez taking on Maxie Chazon. It was a fun fight. I mean, Aline Perez pretty much controlled the majority of it. The first round, Maxie Chazon realized that she is a taller, longer woman than Aline Perez and pretty much controlled it the entire time. Now, in the second round was a little weird. What in the world was the ref on What was the referee doing in this fight? It's like as soon as they hit a ground, as soon as there's a second of lull, he said, you gotta work, you gotta work. And then the second round, the stand-up was absolutely atrocious, bro. That shit was atrocious. Telling me Aline Perez went through all that trouble getting a spinning takedown over the longer, rangier fighter in Macy Chazon, and you're gonna stand him up after like 2 seconds of her gaining position. That referee was absolutely atrocious. Now, Aline Perez did go on to win the rest of the fight. I mean, pretty single-handedly. Third round, she won it pretty easily. But that stand-up in the second round was absolutely horrible. I'm not really sure what the referee was thinking in that. I'm not sure if he's used to refereeing boxing where he's just used to there's not that much clinching, but that referee needs to, I'm glad they talked to him after that fight because that was absolutely horrendous. But Aline Perez does win. But that does make it 6 straight wins for Aline Perez. Who does she get next? I have no idea. In the prelim main event of the night, we had Ryan Gondra taking on Jose Daniel Medina. And this man, Ryan Gondra, absolutely ran through Jose Medina. I'm not really sure what Jose Medina has left for the UFC. I mean, this is 5 straight losses in the UFC and in Dana White Contender Series. Counting that because this man has been getting absolutely brutalized. I mean, 5 straight losses and 3 straight losses by finish. I don't think we see Jose Medina again. But what do you guys think about this fight? What do you guys think about Ryan Gandra? If Ryan Gandra is fighting like that his entire career, which he said he's here to give us fun fights and not to be a boring UFC fighter, I think he has a very, very good future ahead of him. But what did you guys think about this fight? Let me know. Opening up the main card, we had Santiago Luna taking on Angel Pacheco. And this man, Santiago Luna, is looking like the real deal. This man has elite punching power. He has elite speed. And this man has Olympic-level takedowns and wrestling to go along with it. There's not really much that Santiago Luna is missing right now. Might be some fight IQ and some fight time in the octagon. He is very young in his UFC career. And I think a fight like this is going to help him grow more than a win if he was able to just go out there and blitz through Angel Pacheco, because Angel Pacheco has a hell of a chin. Now, what does Angel Pacheco do? Is his first time back in a while. He looked pretty good. Now, he was a walking puncher back there for a little bit, but he was never completely out of it. He was still throwing shots to the very end, and it was a very good fight for them both. But what did you guys think about that? You guys think Santiago Luna should fight next? Let me know. Following that fight, the flyweights was getting to it, and this fight versus Emino Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas was an absolute banger through and through. This man, Kevin Borjas, caught Emino Rodriguez with a beautiful counter left hand that sent Emino Rodriguez flying, and that man, Emino Rodriguez, was able to recover very well going into the second round and going to the stool, and he was able to continue his undefeated streak by finishing everybody he's fought in the UFC in his debut, and it's a beautiful performance from him. And this is the type of fight that you want a young fighter to have early in his career, face some adversity and see how he's able to come back for it, as he was able to come back from it with flying colors. As Emino Rodriguez was able to get the finish in the second round with a glancing right hand. It looked like it barely even hit him, but it did enough as it was able to sit him down. Emino Rodriguez just absolutely swarmed him and was able to get the second round finish. Who do you guys want to see him fight next? Let me know. And probably the dud of the night, we had Edgar Chairez taking on Felipe Bunez. And this fight, it really wasn't that much to write home about. First round, Felipe Bunez pretty much won the fight. He backpacked him the entire first round. Second and third round, Edgar Chairez landed some pretty good heavy shots. The end of the third round was probably the best moment of the entire fight. Edgar Chairez just said, you know what, I'm gonna let it go. Something's gonna happen. I'm going to land something. And he did. He had Bunez back it up the entire last 10 seconds. And it is what it is. Not the most exciting fight. Not really excited to see either one of them guys fight again, if I'm being completely honest, but decent strap. And probably the upset of the night, we had King Green taking on Daniel Zellhuber. King Green continues to show at 39 years old, it does not matter what it looks like on paper. They still have to fight, as Daniel Zellhuber is on a 3-fight losing streak right now. And this is something that I don't think anybody would have expected for Daniel Zellhuber going into his career. This man has everything that you can want in a UFC fighter. He just doesn't know how to pull the trigger. I mean, he couldn't touch King Green. I think at one point the significant strikes was 20-6 for over King Green, and those 20-6, it was brutal 20-6. He had punches and knees and elbows coming from every single option, every single angle that you can throw, and King Green whooped his ass. King Green beat up Daniel Zellhuber pretty easily and got the second round finish over Daniel Zellhuber. That is 3 times Daniel Zellhuber has been a massive favorite and failed spectacularly. I mean, he was a massive favorite over Michael Johnson, and he was a massive favorite over King Green and Trey Ogden, and he lost all 3 of those fights. But what do you guys think about this? Who do you guys want to see King Green fight next? Let me know. In the co-main event of the night, we had David the Dr. Martinez taking on Chito Vera. And Chito Vera, the same thing is catching you every single time. You're not fighting in 5-round fights. You're not the main event. You're not a champion. You have to start faster. He has to start faster. What he's doing is not working. He doesn't have the one-shot knockout power I think he thinks he has. He doesn't have it. I'm sorry. He doesn't have the one-shot knockout power. I know he has some knockouts. He doesn't have that power right now. He doesn't have the power right now. He has to step on the gas early in fights. That's what he has to do. He has to quit waiting to the 3rd round and throwing big strikes and hurting people, and then get to the judges and be like, hey, no, you lost the fight. You lost the fight. You lost the first 2 rounds pretty easily because you didn't do much. You don't do much. You're not active in the first 2 rounds. And then the 3rd round, you're a completely different fighter. Come out in the fight like you do in the 3rd round, and I promise you probably win 1 or 2 of these fights that you've had. Now, for David Martinez, beautiful performance. I mean, he can only do what he can do. Won the first 2 rounds pretty easily. And with that being done, David Martinez is now in the top 10 in the UFC bantamweight division. Who do you guys want to see him fight next? Probably get somebody right outside the top 5, or hell, I wouldn't be mad if they gave him somebody in the top 5. What do you guys think about this? Let me know. In the main event of the night, we have Brandon Moreno taking on Laurent Kavanagh. And Laurent Kavanagh, my bad. I thought this is a little bit too much for him, especially on short notice after getting finished by Charles Johnson his fight before. But this man, Laurent Kavanagh, came in there in Mexico City like he ran the place and put a beating on the former champion in Brandon Moreno. Laurent Kavanagh looked faster, he looked stronger, and his pace that he was putting on Brandon Moreno was very, very high in Mexico City. And like I said, on short notice, Brandon Moreno's leg would look kind of mangled. It looked like he had 2 calves by the end of the fight. Brandon Moreno just, I think the championship aspirations for him is over, which that's not, it sucks to say, but this man, Brandon Moreno, was a 2-time champion. He has nothing to hold his head down about. He's the first ever Mexican champion ever in the UFC. He's had a hell of a career, but now I think he is going to be one of those guys that some UFC newcomers and UFC guys who are trying to burst into the scene are going to use him to get a name off of him. But what do you guys think about this fight? What was your biggest surprise of the night? What was your biggest, oh, that just happened the other night? Let me know down below in the comments. And like always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Be good people. Peace.